Hey guys, I just wanted to do a little video on interesting things I found from successful rich people. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone. Not all rich people are like this, but it's very interesting because um, I'm surprised at how many of them do. Uh, and what it is that a lot of people who are successful, even ones that may have inherited their money, I would be very surprised because oftentimes they are working very hard and they're making themselves smarter and they're learning and they're just working very hard to gain more knowledge and contribute to the world. And it's like they don't have to do any of this and they're still doing it, and it just very much surprises me. And that's something I very much respect. And I think it's it's one of those things that's like, sometimes you assume people are successful because of luck, and you'll be surprised because of you won't realize it, but behind the scenes they're working really hard, they're learning and they're practicing and they're achieving a great amount of success. And I'll give you a few examples, but before I do, I'll go ahead and subscribe to this video if you're not, and like it, um, and I'll see you in my next video if you subscribe. Okay, so back on track though. So I'll give you two examples of people who are like this. And again, these are, despite this being true, there's still examples I see of this not being true, where unfortunately people aren't like this. And I'm not gonna lie, there's probably people who have inherited different levels of money, 100,000, a million, half a billion, a billion, that have maybe just partied it away or done nothing or not spent any time in most of their lives developing themselves, working hard, achieving greater levels of knowledge in the world and stuff like that. But there's people who do. And I'm not going to name names of people who have not done this. Although the one that comes to mind straight off the bat, it's interesting because even him, I found out through another individual who knows him that he does a little bit of charity work behind the scenes. A few of them do. And it's like, before you point a finger, and no, it's not Dan Bilzerian, but again, Dan Bilzerian is another example. It's like, before you point a finger, have you done as much as this person? Like, sure, this person may be, partying away and he got really lucky, like Dan Bilzerian, and he's worth 100 million, and all you see on Instagram are photos of him partying away in mansions with all these models and stuff like that. But you have to realize a couple things. One, the internet is only a snapshot of what the creator of the content chooses to let their audience think that's who they are. Same thing for me, same thing for anyone who posts on Facebook or Instagram. These are just snapshots, especially photos. That's just like 1 second of their life. What about the other 23 hours of their day? So you can't really just assume things, but everyone on the internet seems to be pretty darn dumb, so they do it anyways. And so the problem with that though is that you can't point the finger when you haven't donated a cent to charity, whereas Dan Bilzerian behind the scenes, he's donated hundreds of thousands to different charities. Does this mean he's a exceptional person or anything else? No, but it's kind of like there's so many haters that like point the finger at someone and then they haven't done a thing. It's like the guy who hasn't donated a cent to charity and is just angry and jealous of people who have. One person on Twitter recently wrote back to me in a sort of not really hateful manner to me, but hateful manner to the family I tweeted about. I wrote a tweet about Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, how he worked so hard until his deathbed, and how he just was a very humble, hardworking man who really didn't care about money at all, and just worked until he died, and it was just poured his soul into his store, which became this monstrous $1 billion thing, Walmart, during the time he was alive, actually. And I wrote a tweet about that, and someone wrote back, and he said, well, tell that to his freeloading children. And again, it's these people, it's like, well, they like to point their finger, they like to generalize without doing their research. And I think that's a very horrendous thing to do, because it's like, do you know these people? Do you know whether or not what they do on a day-to-day basis? I bet you haven't even searched up these children and realized what they do. They may do a lot of charity work. They may be donating millions to charity. They might be figuring out the best way to give back to society. And I guarantee you, this guy who tweeted back, he probably, if he had that money, would not have really done any of that charity work. He probably would just, freeloaded it away, just as he points the finger. He would partied it away. So it's one of those things that really, puts me off from Twitter and stuff like that. When I realize how narrow-minded and ignorant certain people can be, the general population. So it's kind of like, it's kind of bad. But you just got to keep hoping, and realizing that there's great people out there who understand your message and don't immediately point the finger like this guy did. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, because Twitter is sort of a community network, but then you have all this exposure to negative attitudes and people, whether you like it or not, if you want to engage back with your community. So it's kind of like this thing. And also it depends on your industry, because if you're just someone who does entertaining videos, I mean, technically if you're large enough, it doesn't really matter. You'll get haters anyways. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful in some way or shape or form. Sorry if I rambled a bit, but hopefully you found my rambling informative or helpful in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, I think it's all very interesting. Leave it a like if you found this interesting. Share this video with your friends and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Yeah, that's all I really want to say. And again, check out some more of my videos. Go to my channel and just browse my videos and click on whatever one you think may be of interest to you or helpful to you. Yeah. And if you're still sticking around, I may have something special to just add on to this video, if you're still here. Okay, you're still here. So, I guess the last thing I want to say, just to add on to everything I said so far about these people, is the two examples of individuals who have surprisingly done their homework. One is, they're both from the same family, and unfortunately, a lot of people have a lot of issues with the father of this family, and there's things people hate and people don't like or like about certain things or certain personalities about how this person's behaved in his life. It's Donald Trump. And what you should do, is, that's true and stuff, but, people excel at certain areas, and you can take away what they excel at. And sometimes you don't have to really, I guess, dwell too much on the things that they don't like if it's not going to help you. You shouldn't frown upon it, or you shouldn't like embrace them or just like praise them because they've done bad things. But also, it's not something like, if it's not going to benefit you, then like dwelling on it or wasting your time like hating on someone isn't going to help you, rather than just taking the bits that they're helpful for. An example would be a guy who, for instance, wants to make this man his business mentor, and he's made millions of dollars and he knows what he's doing in the industry he's doing it, but he cheated on his wife. And that's a horrible thing to do, and you shouldn't, it's not something you should respect. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of bad and stuff like that. But if your whole focus is only on sales and stuff like that, then you should keep to your morals and values and not cheat on any individuals yourself. But like, all you have to do is just buy his sales product and learn from his courses or lectures on sales or his business, and that has nothing to do with whether he cheated or not. But again, things get wishy-washy. So, long story short, there's two examples. One is one of Donald Trump's sons. He apparently, he's inherited a lot of money, and yet at the same time, he apparently, one entrepreneur recently spent an hour with him and was just amazed at how much of an expert and master he was at marketing and SEO and all the detailed, specific, intricate knowledge on these topics. And it really was just very awe-inspiring in a way, because here's a man who inherited a lot of wealth, came from a father with a lot of wealth, didn't really have to put all this information, knowledge, and research into a topic, but still chose to do so. Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's daughter, is another example, because she was an individual who she's on social media a lot, and I found it very interesting because she posted a couple photos of her spread out through her Instagram where she's reading books, and there's this one where she's on a airplane flight, or she's on her own private jet, who knows, and she's literally sitting there with 5 or 6 books, many of which I recognize. One of them was I think it was 0 to 1, and another one was the low-cost startup or something like that. And these are books I recognize, and I'm like, well, it's very interesting. You know, here's Ivanka Trump. She has a lot of wealth already. She has a daughter, and yet she's apparently sleeping only 4 or 5 hours a day. I got that source from an interview video she recently did. And she's working really hard with her business, her fragrances, and all this stuff, and real estate. And it's kind of like, why you don't have to do all this. You don't have to spend all this time reading these books on businesses and companies and all this stuff, and they're doing it. And I think it's a very helpful, important thing to do. And the reasons behind that are manifold. One of them just keeping you from becoming brain dead when you get older. But that's a topic for another video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. All inspiring stuff. Thanks for watching. See ya.